Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to endeavor to demonstrate that a Zippo type copper woven wick, or just about any other wick that you are in possession of for that matter, when it comes to the IMCO wicks, the old Ronson, new old stock wicks that you might have purchased on eBay or found in a group of old lighters that you bought. Whatever the case may be, I get this question all the time where someone asks, what kind of wick do I use to replace the wick in my X lighter? In other words, maybe it's flat ad lighter, maybe it's an Ibello monopole lighter. It could be any lighter that they're asking about, and often the wick that they are asking about is different as well. But the Zippo copper woven wicks are the most common that you're going to find nowadays. They're pretty readily available to you in smoke shops, department stores, other places where you buy these kind of supplies, Amazon and eBay as well. So just to demonstrate, this wick has been pulled out of this flat ad lighter. And now we are going to put this half copper woven Zippo type wick down the chimney as well. We've already removed all the wadding. This is not a video of how to re-wick or replace the wadding in your flat ad lighter. This is really just to demonstrate that the different kind of wicks will go down these different chimneys, and it's just a matter of whether or not you are able to fish them out the other end. So you can see here we've got the Zippo copper woven type wick twisted down so that it is not any thicker than it has to be. We also don't want it bloomed out on the end as this one is. We want it to be more narrow as we see here on this end. So then you just start it down that chimney. And once you get so much of it in there, then it'll start going a little bit easier. I've seen folks try to follow those instructions that you see in the Ronson pamphlets, where it tells you to use that little wire poker to poke those wicks down that chimney. I've never had any luck poking one down so much as pulling it out. So even though this wick will obviously fit in this lighter, as you can see from we had at least a ½ inch in that one. Once you get it fed down that far, if you had a wire tied to that, then you could fish it out the other end. Now, the IMCO type wicks come with a wire already glued into them. You can bend the wire so that you have a higher probability or a better chance of seeing it as it comes to rest when the back end of this wire is all the way down the chimney. But you're still going to have to kind of trial and error fish it out. So there you see we stuck it in, and we did a pretty good job of approximating where the wire needed to come. So now we can get a hold of that wire. So now get a hold of that end. I'm going to put the snuffer up just so that it's not holding anything there, which it really shouldn't be anyway. Brace this and then pull that wire on through. So you could twist your Zippo copper woven type wick down through there. You can use the wire lead IMCO type wick. Or you can use an old Ronson type wick, which work very well. They appear to me to be about the same diameter as the IMCO wicks. But either one, whether you use the Ronson type and tie a wire onto it, or cut the wire out of an IMCO type and then tie the little wire lasso onto the end of it, or whether you were to tie a lasso onto a Zippo type wick. Any of those will work. I use this 0.3 millimeter beading wire. You're basically just going to tie a knot. Go ahead and start. Your basic, just like you were tying your shoes. We will twist the end of this wick down a little bit. Place the wick into the knot. This is kind of detailed, tedious work, and takes me several tries when I do this often. So tighten that down. Yeah, it's a little bit higher than we want it. That should work. Tighten it as much as we can. We're not even going to double knot it. We're just going to tie that one knotted loop like that, and you will bend it down. And then we'll twist this wire up and tie it on the other end. It appears to be twisted up tight enough. Hopefully I can tie it without any major problem here. Pull that down snugly. Now we're going to cut that off right there on the other side of the wire, or the knot. Both strands of wire right there on the other side of the knot. Now we will feed this down the chimney of the lighter. And before we even get the wick started into the chimney, we may be able to go ahead and fish our wire out of here. That will give us a little bit of a leg up if we can do that, so that we don't put pressure on the wick for any extended amount of time and make that more difficult than it needs to be to pull out of there. And hopefully here is an opportunity for us to use these tweezers that typically aren't all that helpful to me for an operation like this, but hopefully we can get a hold of that wire with it and pull it out of there. And there we go. Got the end out. Now we will go ahead and spin this wick down a little bit tighter if we can. Hopefully we can get it to slide in there easy enough and then pull it out the other end. That wire is a little bit tight, so I'm going to use some pliers to pull this through so that I don't cut into my finger with the wire. So we've got a good length of it in there just with that pull, and the other end already to the fuel hole of the lighter. Now you want to be careful at this point, because regardless of how far or how easy or how hard that wick has been to pull down that chimney thus far, it is very easy to accidentally pull it all the way through. Having a hard time with the grip on these pliers and keeping it inside the jaws. So that shouldn't give too much, and we're just not going to pull haphazardly. Use some discretion, and a wire pulled off, which is going to make that a little bit easier for us not to pull it too far, hopefully. If we have to, we can just cut it off. That would be better than pulling it too far through. But with a little bit of care, you should be able to pull it down there to just about the right height. May need a little bit of trimming, but as you can see, a Zippo copper woven type wick is not too big to fit in a flat advertising lighter, and I would almost bet you not too big for any petrol lighter that you're going to try to fit it in. I could be wrong. I know there are different wick sizes, and there may be some odd ones that are just too narrow, and the wire woven, more rigid type wick just won't go down them. But as you can see, the Zippo wick will go into a flat advertising lighter. Until next time.